Hey everybody, Michelle with Michelle's Frugal Living here, and thanks for watching my videos. And today I'm going to turn these cucumbers into fermented pickles. So fermenting, we're not adding any heat, okay? It's not like canning in the sense that you need to, boil them or pressure cook anything. When you ferment, you make a saltwater brine, and you submerge your vegetables of whatever you're doing in the saltwater brine, and then natural bacteria grows in there. Bad bacteria gets killed off by the saltwater brine, and then the good bacteria grows. It's good for your gut. I have some fermented food just about every day, and it just makes for good gut health. If you you take like store-bought probiotic pills, I mean, that's what you're getting, is the same thing that you can do yourself with natural food, okay? Anyways, you can read up about the benefits of fermented food online. Okay, I fermented quite a bit of different things. Like I said, I'm going to do these cucumbers. I got these at the farmer's market, so I need to wash them, cut the ends off of them. Just the tips, I'm not going to peel them. If you buy store-bought cucumbers, just be aware some of them will have a wax coating on them. They do that to preserve the cucumbers and make them last longer on the shelf. So those are probably not the best kind. So if you look for other cucumbers that, cucumbers that don't have wax coating on them, or if you grow your own, okay? Yeah, so basically what else I need, I've got, this is some Lipton black tea, and you could use this, or any kind of black tea you have. I'm just going to put this in the jar with the cucumbers. Or you need a grape leaf. There's probably other things that will help keep your cucumbers crisp, because believe me, the first batch I didn't know you needed to put something in there, and they got mushy really bad and they were gross, okay? So in order to keep them crisp, you got to have something in there, and you can read about anything else that might work. I have the black tea bag, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to flavor mine with dill. I have put fresh jalapenos, just chopped it in chunks and stuck it in with the cucumbers and made spicy pickles. You could put some garlic in there if you like that, or bread and butter seasoning mix or whatever. Whatever kind of seasoning you put in there, you do not want it to float up on the top. It can give points for up on the top of the water for other bacteria to grow that you don't want. So if you use another seasoning mix, you need to put it in like a little cheesecloth sachet or something, and sink it in there so it doesn't, all the particles don't float, okay? Some sea salt, or, well, whatever. You need some salt that does not have iodine in it, okay? So I just have this Mediterranean sea salt. It's worked just fine for me. Some water that doesn't have chlorine in it. Regular tap water is going to have chlorine in it, so you don't want to have that happen, okay? So that's all the ingredients that I'm going to use. I'm going to use this canning jar, but you can use like an old pasta sauce jar. You can use an old pickle jar or something. It's best to do it in glass, because anything, might not corrode or, have a problem with that, okay? If you got old crocks, they may have lead in the paint, so it's probably, unless it's a newer crock, you probably don't want to do it in a crock, because it might have lead. Okay, I got a scale. I'm gonna weigh everything that I put in the jar, and base my brine solution on how much it weighs. Other people just make a brine solution of like 2 tablespoons of salt to like a gallon of water or something like that, and I don't think that's precise enough. I've read some blogs and a book and stuff, and I think you get a more precise solution if you 2 to 3% salt to how much ever produce you have. Well, in the produce and the water. I'm going to weigh it all. I'll show you. But anyways, you can read online, about that, or watch some other videos about how much people actually use. But I think, like I said, I think it's about 2 tablespoons of salt to a gallon of water. Okay, I'll get the cucumbers washed up, and then we'll see what's next. Alright, so I cut the ends off of the cucumbers, and if they had any spots that I thought were bad, I just took them off. I did a rough fit in the jar to I think this amount will fit in there. If I need some more, I still have a few over here that I didn't use, the bigger ones. I was just going for the littler ones in this one. But anyways, I might do those in another jar. So they're all washed, they're ready to go. First, I need to see how much my jar weighs. I just want to weigh it. It's 440 grams, just in case the scale shuts off. I know how much this jar weighs. But anyways, I'm going to zero out my scale, and then I'm going to want to start putting things in. I'm going to put the tea bag in the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and put the dill down at the bottom, okay, because I don't want it to float to the top. And then I'm just going to start packing in the cucumbers. So, I'll get my hand out of the way, but anyways, I'm going to do my best to get them lined up in here and pack them in. I really don't want them to float, but we can counteract floating if we need to with other things in there. I need something bigger to go down in the bottom there. And okay, so now I can just start putting another layer in. I did a rough sticking them in there, and I definitely could get some more in there. What I don't want to do is come up past the line here on the jar, because you need a little bit of head space, really. And so I might just slice one more, make one fit in that little, in the center in there. Okay, so I put another one in there and rearranged them a little bit. All right, so I'm going to weigh this. And so it was already zeroed out. The jar got zeroed out. So all I'm weighing now is the cucumbers and the tea bag and the dill. And so then I'm just going to go ahead and, so anything that you're going to, put in there in the jar, we need to weigh it. And like I said, this is using a weight measure to do this, but you certainly could, just make a brine solution. Okay, so I'm at 842 grams, and I want to get 2% of that. So 1% of that is 8 grams, 8.4 grams, and so 2% of that would be 16, almost 17 grams, right? So I'm going to shoot for adding 17 grams. So at this point, I could just go ahead and zero it out, and when I hit 17 grams of salt, if you're using coarse salt, compared to fine salt, if you measure it teaspoon wise, it's not going to be the same, right? Because coarse salt, there's not going to be as much in the teaspoon weight-wise, and that's why people suggest using a weight measure. Okay, it's clumped up on me. A clump of salt right there. Okay, a little bit more. Anywhere, okay, well, a big clump just fell out. Now I'm at 21%, which is fine. Up to 3%, really. I don't want to go over that, so we'd still be good. 3% would have put me up at like 25 grams, so anywhere between 2 and 3 is good. Okay, so now I got that in there. It really could stir it up to get it to dissolve. Sometimes I put the lid on and shake it up. If you shake it up, then you got to make sure you get the air bubbles back out of it, okay? And right now, these aren't floating outside of the liquid. If they started floating up outside of the liquid, I'll take some celery and I'll just put a piece of celery down, bend it down underneath the lip of the glass right there, so it'll hold everything down and it'll be fine. So, but these are okay right now. I'm just going to put the lid on loosely and not tight, because it's going to start bubbling and the water's going to go cloudy, and gas is going to be escaping, and it's a good thing. Okay, so we don't want to tighten the lid on. I just want it on there so that it won't fall off. Okay, and stick it inside of something. I'm just going to have it sitting in this bowl. I'm going to put it in the pantry closet. Some people leave them out on the counter, but I don't know if light affects anything. So anyhow, like I said, I'll just stick it in the pantry, and we'll come back and look at it in a couple of days when it starts getting bubbly. Okay, so it's been a day and a half since I put these cucumbers in the brine. So the liquid has gotten cloudy. It really got a lot cloudier yesterday evening. Yeah, so let's take a look. This white foamy stuff is okay and normal. And so I'll just scoop it off and stir up the liquid, and you can see that this one little cucumber has popped up out of here. So I'll get a piece of celery and I'll put it on there so it'll keep them wedged down in there. Okay, so I scooped off the white foam, stirred it around a little bit. Anyways, so I got a piece of celery, and I want it to be like big enough to wedge underneath the lip of the jar, and because really it needs to be submerged itself in the water, and the point is that it's going to hold everything down in there. So, and these have shrunk a little bit because of the fermenting action that's going on, so that's why they'll start to float like that. So all right, it's ready to set again. So yeah, and I dated my lid. Okay. All right, so it's been 5 days now since I made the pickles in here, and you can see the liquid is very cloudy. There's bubbles in here, and if I jiggle it, I can make some come up. So it did what it's supposed to do. It fermented and everything. So there was some more white foamy bubbles. Some people say that's yeast, so I'm not exactly sure, but I don't think it's harmful. Anyways, I just went ahead and scooped it off, and I put it in the bowl. Now this did come over a little bit over the top because the jar was actually stuck to the bowl. So but it does that with those bubbles and everything. But that's why you want to leave some space at the top, so you know, if it, you know, the liquid comes up as it's fermenting and comes over, you don't get as big a mess. So don't fill it all the way to the top. And yeah, so let's take one out, and that's pretty firm right there. Let me cut this, and I will give it a try here. So yeah, they get more sour the more you leave them in there. So let's see how crispy this still is. Oh yeah, I don't know if you can hear me crunching that, but it's very firm. And yeah, it has a fermented flavor to it. So certainly if it tastes bad, if it smells bad, don't eat it. Right? Maybe that, you know, it could be the wrong thing happened. I mean, I could leave these out on the counter and ferment them some more. They're not really sour. There's a little sourness to them, and I can taste the dill in it a little bit. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let them set out and ferment maybe a couple of more days, but they're certainly fine the way they are. When you put them in the refrigerator, they continue to ferment. It's just at a very much slower rate because the temperature in the refrigerator is a lot colder, and that's why you can still get mold in the refrigerator. It just happens at a really slower rate than if it's sitting out on the counter. So yeah, but anyways, that's great. They taste just fine. So anyways, happy fermenting, everybody. Thanks for watching.